Chapter 8, A Frayed Relationship. This has to be it, Sage yelled again. The river is now, or on now is the Amazon. That must be the River Negra, she explained. She see how that river is darker than the Amazon. For a while the dark waters don't mix. They flow separately, side by side. Rosa's eyebrows tightened. How did Sage know something like that? Maury must have wondered the same thing because she asked. It's all my sister, Sage confessed. She did a whole science fair project on erosion in American rivers. Don't ask, she's a whiz. Whenever it rains, which is a lot, the rainwater carries soil and nutrients into the water. Javier said, that's where the color comes from. It came from the Amazon River, but it's greener. As if on cue, it started to drizzle. It had been so muggy, the rain felt good. So, Deb said, looking at their guide, is this it? I can't tell you. Maybe you should reread the clue. Deb did just that, cringing again at the bad rhymes. Then everyone started looking for the flags that greet. Sage and Deb searched on one side. Maury and Russell searched the other. Russell soon noticed several pennant-shaped flags with the wildlife logo. The flags marked a path leading up from the muddy beach. The larger, faster motorboat was already there. At least there's only one boat, Deb pointed out. We're probably in second place. They hadn't seen any of the other teams since the start of the race, so they hadn't had any idea what place we're in. It's not over yet, Sage said, splashing her rubber boot into the river before the boat had reached the shore. Russell sprang out next, landing in the muck. Deb and Maury followed. Good luck, Javier called out. The four kids turned and waved before charging up the stone-lined path. When they reached the crest of the hill, they found that the ground dropped again immediately. A deep gully cut through the land with a ribbon of water the color of chocolate milk at the very bottom. How are we supposed to cross this? Maury wondered out loud. There's another pendant over there. Deb pointed downstream, and the group jogged along the narrow ridge, forcing their way through the lush growth. Sage crouched down as soon as she reached the point across from the flat. No way, she hissed. The rest of the team gathered around. Russell couldn't believe it either. The green team cut the road bridge, so no one else could cross, Deb said as he looked at the far side of the gully. That hardly seemed sportsmanlike. Russ could see the frayed stubs of thick gray rope dangling down the far side of the ditch. That's the only explanation I can think of, Sage answered, lifting up the other end of the bridge. The wooden slates clacked against the dirt wall when she let go. Russell still didn't believe it. Would his friends seriously pull something like that? This was all his fault. It hadn't been foolish enough to let them track him. They'd never have been in the lead in the first place. Now it was up to him to find another way to get his team across. It's steep, but we could slide down, wade through the water, and climb up the other side, he suggested. This is not an option, Maury said with uncommon certainty. There are piranhas down there. I know, they are unusually dangerous to humans, but there's a shallow stream bed where there were a lot of food options. That is a desperate scenario for piranhas and us. Russell gulped, then glanced around. His gaze traveled up the trees and across to the other side. The vines, he said. We can swing across. Seriously? Sage said. You've seen too many adventure movies. You got a better idea? Rose had already looked up and down the gully. It didn't seem to have a beginning or end. We don't want to get off the path with the flats. Come on, he said, tugging on one of the thick vines that twisted himself around a high branch. No, not that one, Deb insisted, his gaze assessing the vine, the ditch, and the far bank. It's set too far back. With that angle, it'll drop us in the middle of the stream. We need one closer to the edge. He took several paces, his eyes focused high in the branch. One like this. Deb flung the vine across the expanse. The vine's tall dragged briefly on the other side. Russell, Sage, and Maury stared as the vine traveled back. It's the best we'll get, Deb said, his voice confident. I'll go first. Russell held the lower part of the vine as Dave found his grip. Ready? Maury shielded her eyes. Set, Dave said, and Russell grabbed Dave at the hips. Russell took a step back and then went forward and gave a firm shove. When he let go, Russell swore part of him kept going across that open gully, still on the vine with Deb. As if he had timed it perfectly, Deb released at the exact moment. The vine reached the height of its swing. He landed in a heap, but he didn't look hurt. Eee! Screamed Sage. Deb, are you okay? She was jumping up and down for joy. It's kind of fun, Deb declared, pushing himself off the ground. Maury had just managed to open her eyes. He made it, she asked. He made it, Sage says, and you're going next.
Creature feature.
Creature feature, piranha. Scientific name, multiple species, family Crocodidae, type fish. Range, South American streams and rivers. Food, mostly fish, snails, and insects, but also plants and seeds, or sometimes birds or mammals. There are many species of piranhas, but they all have one thing in common: their sharp, triangular teeth. With its powerful jaws, a piranha can chomp a mouthful of meat with ease. The fish usually hunt alone. Group attacks are more likely in the dry season when water levels and food options are low. Despite their reputation, deadly piranha attacks on humans are rare.